turned the base for it. No plans for the future. I just turned it and so forth, made it what it is. Decided to put a top on it and worked that one out. And along come a couple birds. I had done another one similar to this previously, but it was wooden wings on the birds. You may recall them from bringing them in at some other time. But these ones were hummingbirds. They went on a different piece. All the while working with bowl gouge and trying to master that. I haven't mastered it, but I am getting better. My wife's thrilled to death with the things, so they seem to be working. I'll mention that everything that I've got here is borrowed, mostly from some of you guys, and so on. This was another piece that didn't quite play, and I trimmed it back and redid it. I used some of the things that you taught us a while back, Jim. Made a lid for it, a leaf for it. Still working on the bowl gouge, but I did put a CA finish on this one. And Archie, it seems you answered a question a month or two ago. You suggested that you were using Starbond heavy thin for finishing, and I brought some of that in, and it seemed to answer whatever my problems were with the CA. It worked better for me, and it doesn't harden quite as fast.
Yeah.
Thrilled to death with this stuff. The soldering and so forth was no big surprise. I've done plenty of that on different projects, from gas tanks to oil pans and God knows what, but that's just the way that it goes.
What's the wood on these?
This is box elder and this is maple. These are ironwood. And if you look at the wings on these, that was quite a process. I probably made half a dozen pairs before I got something that I liked. And you can see from this one here, learning some of the ins and outs, the two wings are a little different, but I'll accept it. I'm not like Sam, I don't lay up nights wearing things.
I have two hands and they aren't the same.
Okay. Box elder, maple, ironwood, and I originally did this with a metal rod with a hook in the end of it. Didn't care for it very much, so I went with the cable. They have to pick up a piece of clear tubing and pinch it shut just a little bit, so it's not part of the display. It's functional and so on. But it's all fun stuff.
What's the bottom part?
Box elder.
Down here?
Down here?
Yeah. Oh, there? No, that's just something to stand it up because of the part that sticks down below. That was just something that was laying around the bench. I had to empty it. I don't know if it was screws or acorns that were in it, but nevertheless.
Eric, you mentioned sliding a piece of tubing over.
Just to pinch the...
Another suggestion is the same thing, but instead of it being tubing, take your copper or whatever and wrap it so that it has a little decorative. You could go copper, then maybe a little solid piece, and then more copper.
Or a turned wood bead with a hole drilled through it.
Yeah, add something other than a piece of tubing by wrapping. I only thought of that because of working with that sinew lately. It's like, oh my, and on that little cauldron, I wrapped that little, that'd be kind of neat to put some design into it.
Okay. Well, this is 19-wire snare cable, so you're not going to pinch it down too much without putting a crease in it. But, yeah, I can come up with something like that. A thin wrap of copper around it would
be pretty.
Thank you. Okay. The CA glue has been a contest for me, but I am finally starting to get the idea. It's working better. And something else that I'd like to bring to the group, this is Diablo brand sandpaper for your random orbital sanders, 5-incher and stuff. As you can see, it's a mesh, so you don't need to worry about holes on it and stuff. I help out at a campground, and the guy bought a pack of 50 80 grit. I was refinishing the inside of the cabin, and it didn't work exactly like it should have, and it tends to tear up the hook and loop part of the sander or the hook and loop pad that they offer you with it. I borrowed a couple of discs, and I happen to be working on the lathe, and I tried it out, and it's fabulous on the lathe. Double it over so you've got half a circle. You can hold both ends nicely. It forms to your work well. You've got a sharp edge to go down into cracks and etc. But the best part is when it starts to load up, just slap it on the bench one time. It's self-clearing until you start, if you've done an oil finish on something, it loads up. Obviously, if the varnish is a little fresh or something, it loads up also. If I recall, it goes all the way down to the equivalent of a 36 grit, and it goes all the way up to 600. So you can have it any way you like it. And I really happen to like 400 and 600 for that final polish. It just does.
Those 5 or 6 diameter.
These are 5s. There's 180 in there, and there's 2 180s if you want to check them.
You say Home Depot?
Yes. And they're
Or if you
really
look on Amazon.
sharp.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But, you know, I would start with, they come also in packs of 20. I wouldn't bother with the disc. It's not going to hold up. It's of no value to the whole.
No, I buy
They
some,
get hot and the gloops melt on the disc.
I don't know. Is that what it is?
That's what happens.
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
They're little plastic hooks that
Either way.
melt.
Right.
You get
for the
them too hot.
lathe, they're pretty spectacular.
We get a pack of 50 off of Amazon for, the Diablo assorted sand, that's, if assorted, for $27, free shipping on it.
Okay.
If you go back to, like Eric's, in specific sizes, if you can't get to a Home Depot, yeah, you can get the variety of sizes in 5-inch packs are running $15.
And so your sander will pull the dust through them too, no matter what the hole spacing on the sander.